I'm Jack Scalia, and welcome to our show, Proud to Serve. We are being presented by the Marigoff Family Foundation. I get asked about my politics. It's simple. I'm an American. I stand for the national anthem. I believe in the red, white, and blue, mom's apple pie, a dog named Spot, God's guns, grits, the Bible, our men and women in uniform who serve and protect our great nation, and our first responders. But hey, that's me. Proud to Serve is about people who have faced their fair share of trials and tribulations, overcome them by honoring their creation, trusting in their instincts, believing in their dream, and creating their destiny. Our guest today is a great example of that. He served the United States Marine Corps for 5 years, 3 years an Army Reservist, comes home, he is now a rapper, a songwriter, a singer, a lyricist, and most important of all, he sticks with his roots, rhythm and blues. Welcome to the show, our guest, Elliott McKenzie.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome to the show, pal, and thank you for your service.
Of course, of course.
Okay, we'll talk about your Operation Iraqi Freedom, OIF. So you come back, well, you have your experience, and you come back. Now, did you immediately get into the recording, into the singing, or was there something that moved you into that and said, I have some things I want to deal with, and this is where I'm going to find something? So
I had been doing music since I was probably like this big.
How big is that?
Like 5th grade.
Okay.
I was tall, I was small.
Okay.
So 5th grade comes and I'm called a midget, but.
Okay.
So I've been doing music since I was probably around 5th grade. I started playing drums. I sang in choir in high school. So music had always been a part of my background.
Right.
But what really pushed me to pursue it the way I did was a counselor that I actually saw at the VA. But if you rewind back to about 2006, I was actually in Japan a year after I got out of Iraq. And that's when I actually recorded my first album when I was over in Okinawa, Japan.
Right.
I met some other Marines who actually were producing music and making music in their barracks rooms.
Right.
And so I teamed up with them and I actually started making music while I was in Okinawa, Japan in 2006.
Okay. So let's just go you enlisted in the first week after your graduation?
Yeah, 5 days after graduation, I was on the Yellow Footprints becoming a Marine. Yeah.
Okay, so if anyone doesn't know, the Yellow Footprints that's an angle of 45 degrees, heels together, toes apart, and that's kind of like, that's at Paris Island, that's all at Camp Lejeune, it's all over. But why a Marine?
So I wanted to join the Marine Corps because when I was in high school, I had always wanted to do things where I felt like I was earning what I was getting. And I was always that kid that was up for a challenge. And so when I was deciding which branch to go into, that stood out about the Marine Corps. They had always talked about, it's a challenge. You have to earn the title Marine. Everything that you get, you earn. And so that was what was really attractive about the Marine Corps. Plus, I wanted to look good in the uniform. So,
right, they have great dress blues.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, did the commercials for the Marines have anything to do with that?
Yeah, definitely. I still remember the commercial where the Marine is on the bridge slaying that big fireball dragon with the sword. That one stood out to me a lot for sure.
Okay, great. Just want them to know that their publicity and advertising is working. Anyway, so now you're in the Corps for how long before what year was that when you enlisted, and then what happened where you were now deployed?
So I enlisted in 2003, 5 days after graduation of high school. From there, I got selected for a duty that's called Presidential Support Duty, which is a small percentage of Marines that are selected to work alongside the Secret Service in Washington, D.C. to help protect the President of the United States. I did that for a few years, along with being in what's called the FAST team, a Fleet Anti-Terrorism Security Team, which is part of Marine Corps Security Forces, which in a nutshell is like a Marine Corps SWAT team that's basically trained to go into embassies and buildings and take them over if they've been taken over by our enemies, take them back. So I did that for 2 years, and then I went to my primary MOS, which is 0311 Rifleman, and with 1st Battalion, 5th Marines, I deployed to Ramadi, Iraq in 2005.
On fire, hoorah!
Yeah.
Okay, so when you get deployed.
Yeah.
Now all Marines, all of our men and women in uniform, all 5 branches have intense training. So you've taken it up a level, and now you get deployed to Iraq. And where did they send you in Iraq?
So I was in Ramadi, Iraq.
Okay. A little hot there, huh?
Yeah, it was about between
temperature hot and
firefight hot. Oh yeah,
right.
Most definitely. But temperature hot, it was between 115 at night and about 140 during the day.
Cool
on average.
Night. Cool at night.
Yeah, it was pretty cool,
Okay, so give us a typical day, because all the days kind of when you're deployed in the way that you were and you're going down the street, where you were dismounted,
Right.
What were your duties while you were there?
So my platoon, we were dismounted, so we didn't ride in Humvees. So your typical day was wake up at like 04:05, go on an early morning foot patrol through Ramadi. So usually it's about between 5 and 7 miles walking distance between the time you leave the gate, you go out into the city, and you come back. You come back from that, and then you debrief from that. You plan your next patrol. You find out if there's any specific targets that you're looking for, any specific individuals within the city that you're looking for, any specific missions that the higher-ups have given us for that day, and then we plan around those objectives, and then we go on those patrols. So usually it's about 2 to 3 patrols a day, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, then one in the evening, depending on the day's operations.
Right. Thank you for that. Okay, give us 1 or 2 instances. You're out. It's your typical day. You're in hostile territory.
Right.
You get a report, so you're hearing scuttlebutt about what's been going on in the streets. I mean, you have your lets. I mean, where you're seeing things. All of a sudden, the streets, not many people around. Even the dogs are gone.
Yeah.
And what happens when where you're used to the people, now there's no people?
That's when the tension goes up, because word gets around to the civilians about when they're planning an attack. So typically the civilians disappear when they feel like there's an attack coming when we're out on the streets. So if we leave the wire and it's a normal day, and then halfway through our patrol, all of a sudden everything disappears and gets quiet, we know something's about to happen. Either something's about to happen, or they've planned it and they've talked about it and the civilians got word about it. So the civilians they ditch and they get inside their houses because they feel like something's about to happen. Usually it's either an ambush, a firefight, an IED, a VB IED, or some sort of attack that's about to happen. So for us, we just prepare mentally and physically, and that tension goes up in the air.
Right. Can you share 1 or 2 experiences where you saw that and there was the tell signs? And then it becomes, now you know something's going to happen.
Yeah, so there was a post on top of a rooftop at a place called the Government Center. And it was a facility where we had posts on the roof just to maintain 24/7 eyes on the city. And I was on QRF, Quick Reaction Force, in the building. And we were up on the roof, and it was a normal evening. And we noticed that all of a sudden people just started disappearing from the streets outside. The guys on the rooftop were reporting down to us in the QRF, it's getting quiet outside, get ready. Because we knew, like I said, if it gets quiet, something's gonna happen. So it got quiet, people started disappearing, cars started parking on the street, people were going in their houses. Maybe 15 minutes after it got quiet, we got unloaded on. Small arms fire on the building, mortars landed on the rooftop, and then me and my QRF had to rush upstairs to go support those guys.
Okay, and did everybody come out of that okay?
No, one of our Marines, he actually lost his leg with the mortar landed on the rooftop, lost his leg, and I believe 2 other Marines got shot.
Okay, and you were there a total of 7, 9 months?
I was there 7 months, from February to September of 2005.
All right, now this level that you say the tension goes up, then that adrenaline kicks in. Now, how is that an everyday? Are you there every day living with that?
Yeah, that's a daily. Your adrenaline level is extremely high every single day that you're there, because you have to be prepared for an attack to come at any moment. And so if you drop that guard at any moment, you have to be prepared for that attack to come when your guard is dropped. So in the back of your mind, you're thinking, I never want to let my guard down.
Right, and you don't want to let your guard down, but you also don't let your guys to your left and the guys to your right down either, right?
Right, exactly.
Now, when you're working at that level, you're going out on mission almost every single day. That's what you do. That's what you as a Marine was doing. That was what they were asking of you.
Right.
And so you see what you see. You can't unsee it.
Right.
The things that you experienced, you can't unexperience.
Right.
And now you go to, I guess, Okinawa after that. Mm-hmm. And so Okinawa, a little bit of a debrief there maybe, and then you come back home. And what is your back home? You're not in the sandbox any longer. Mm-hmm. Now, where are you? Where is Elliott McKenzie in his head?
Angry. So the first thing that I noticed was little tiny things would aggravate me extremely easily. Like,
for instance?
I'd be in a grocery store at a shopping mall, and somebody would accidentally bump into my shoulder walking past me, and I would get so infuriated that I wanted to turn around and start a fist fight with this person when it was just an accident, minor situation. When prior to going to Iraq, I wasn't like that. And I noticed that my anger level and my irritability just overall were just always on high for no reason. I was super irritable constantly.
Well, no reason you were aware of at that moment, but
Right, yeah.
now as time has moved on for you. So you go from the Marine Corps and then you go and become a 3 years Army reservist. What was that transition like? And that was after you were home and now you're back, you're here. And so why did you go into the Army reservist as
Honestly,
an Army reservist?
I did it for the signing bonus, because that was actually at a time in my life where I was going through my phases with PTSD and I was struggling a lot. And I initially went into a Marine Corps recruiter's office because I wanted to go back into the Marine Corps. But at the time, I had gotten some tattoos that the Marine Corps tattoo policy wouldn't allow prior service to have coming back in. And so the Army was like, hey, we'll take you. We do long sleeves and we'll give you 15 grand to come back in. And I was like, all right, let's do it. So, you know, I did it because I wanted to continue serving. And I needed the money from the signing bonus. And then I missed it. You know, I had that itch to get back into the brotherhood and back into the military.
Absolutely.
And that's initially why I walked back into the recruiter's office. And so even though I couldn't go back in the Marine Corps, that itch was so strong, I was like, okay, the next best thing is the Army, so let's do it.
The brotherhood, thank you for that.
Of course.
The brotherhood is something pretty unique and special, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's something that you can't get anywhere else.
Right.
Yeah, it's like family.
Right. Okay, so now you're back home. Did you try to get jobs? Did you try to do work or anything?
Yeah, so I went from job to job. A lot of veterans, when they get out, they face that gray area of not knowing who they are. They lose sense of their identity. And so they get out of the military and they go from like small job to small job. I had probably 10 to 12 jobs. From 2007 to like, I'd say 2015, because I couldn't really figure out who I was, what I wanted to do with my life. You know, I did the typical security guard thing. I did this, I did that. I couldn't find that direct path that I was supposed to be on.
Correct. Okay, so where did you get your first understanding with your music as you were starting to emote? Things were coming to you, you felt this thing happening in you, that you felt that, was it from talking with someone at the VA or someone, that a counselor,
Right.
and then did they suggest it or did it just start to happen?
So for me, it was a counselor at the VA. So part of my process was I had an incident happen at home with my brother, a violent incident at home. I actually ended up pulling a knife on my brother. The police were called. I was put in the 5150 ward at the VA. And after I was released from there was when I ended up homeless. And then from that shelter, from that transitional housing facility, I started seeing a counselor at the vet center in Corona, California. And that counselor is, to this day, probably the best thing that has happened to me, because she was a former Marine. She's a sergeant, or she was a sergeant in the Marine Corps. Her name's Crystal Pressberry, and I thank her to this day for what she did to me. And she basically said, okay, give me the list of your symptoms and write them down for me. So I wrote the list of symptoms down, or the things that I was doing that I couldn't understand.
Right.
And she said, I'm gonna explain to you why you're doing everything on this list. And the one thing that she found that they all had in common was the adrenaline addiction. And she said, you can use your abilities in music as a form of therapy for this. Because I told her that I had been doing music since I was in school, drumline,
Right.
choir in high school, all that kind of stuff. And she said, are you still doing music? And I was like, yeah, I just did an album in Okinawa in 2006 with some friends of mine. And she said, why don't you use that as a form of therapy? Because I had never thought of music as therapy before. It was just a form of expression, a talent that I was born with that I was using. And so she gave me the advice, and she taught me how using music as therapy to feed the adrenaline addiction and also soothe the PTSD would be beneficial for me. And so that's when that light bulb really went off.
Right, when she helped you connect the dots so that you could take the music to your benefit physically and mentally, emotionally, spiritually.
Right.
That it's, and psychologically, that it's, that kind of turned a little trigger or hit a trigger for you, you went, wow, right?
Yeah, it changed the way that I saw my ability, because it went from the talent that I had to a need to use that talent to benefit my own life and save my own life. Right. So it went from being like just a talent to being like a desirable thing that I had that I needed to use on a daily basis.
Right, that's amazing. So now you go from honoring your creation and expressing yourself in the way that you were doing and becoming a Marine, then you start to get back to a place where she helps you to trust your instincts and maybe use them there too. Then now it's like to trust your instinct, then to believe in your dream.
Yeah, exactly.
And now you start to create something. So believing in your dream, the thing that was always started when you were about that tall, when you were a little fellow. And so now you start to relate my injuries, the unseen ones, my talent, my creativity, and then you start to write and you start to perform.
Right.
And you start to create these videos, and it becomes also you serving your fellow brothers and sisters in helping them to understand how you've taken your unseen injuries.
Right.
And now you've made it a visual for them that they can relate to. And you've done that with Gunshots, you've done that with Fight Back, you've done that with Kryptonite. Okay.
Yeah. So after that happened and she gave me the advice, I basically took it and I ran with it. I started getting myself booked for concerts. I started writing songs on a daily basis. I started using my adrenaline addiction to soothe my nerves before I would go up on stage at a concert. And then in 2017, I wrote a song called Gunshots, which you mentioned. And that was the first time that I was actually able to take my experiences with PTSD and as a combat veteran and also combine them with my abilities in music. So Gunshots is a song that talks about sound sensitivity, which a lot of veterans come home having. So back shots from cars, balloons popping, fireworks, things that sound like gunshots take us back to being in firefights in the different areas where we serve. Like for me, I was in a grocery store and a kid and his family walked in and the kid had a balloon. I don't know if it was from a birthday celebration or something. Somehow the balloon accidentally pops. To me, I instantly went back into Ramadi and I ducked behind the tomato counter in the place where I was at. And I remember looking up at the people and they were looking at me like, what the hell is wrong with that guy? Why is he hiding behind the grocery counter like he's a crazy veteran?
Right. Let me stop you right there because I've seen Gunshots.
Okay.
So let's share that with the audience and then we can come back and talk about that because when you say you tell the story, but let's take a look at Gunshots.
Shots fired, my station, all around my position. Oh yeah, yeah. Whoa. Training kicks in, cover, concealment. Oh yeah. Whoa. Adrenaline's pumping, heartbeats thumping. I'm in fight or flight mode. Heartbeats racing, then I get angry. Must kill the enemy. But then I realize I'm back home. Sounds like gunshots everywhere I go. Makes me wanna hit the floor, yeah. Heartbeats racing out of time, 'cause I think I'm out of time, yeah. I probably won't, but I've gotta get control tonight. Strangers looking at me like what the hell is wrong with him, yeah. Whoa, whoa. They don't know what I hear when I hear that sound, yeah. I hear combat, adrenaline's pumping, heartbeats thumping. I'm in fight or flight mode. Heartbeats racing, then I get angry. Must kill the enemy. But then I realize I'm back home. Sounds like gunshots everywhere I go. makes me wanna hit the floor, yeah. Everywhere I go, yeah. Heartbeats racing out of time, cause I think I'm out of time, yeah. I probably won't, but I've gotta get it on like.
Gotta get a grip on me, I did amazing feat. Life been slippery as a veteran Marine. When you come back, no one knows the scene, but you've been through all the things that keeps you from your sleep or makes it hard to breathe. When you come back, sitting here in class, when I first heard something crash, reminded me of that blast from an enemy out in Iraq. When you come back, hearing them gunshot landing on my paws, thinking all is lost in Central Alambra, and this is killing me slowly, skipping my heartbeat, flipping out constant on all of the people who love me. So many walls that I punched in, splinters and knuckles, everyone seeming to bug me. Don't none of you touch me. Now give me my distance, all of you foes, girls say I'm different, real or the fiction, I cannot tell. What is the difference? Now I'm just tripping. I always revisit that time in 06 when I was with the infantry. Rockets were zipping and bullets were snapping, and when I came back, do you hear what I'm hearing?
Sounds like gunshots everywhere I go.
Gunshots
makes me wanna hit the floor everywhere I go. Yeah. Heartbeats racing out of time, cause I think I'm out of time, yeah. I probably won't, but I've gotta get control tonight. Shit.
Wow. Wow. I'm sorry, I just, it's so powerful.
Thank you.
And the music is highly descriptive. And so you were telling that story, and then you made the video, and you shared it with us. So thank you for that. Thank you for your fellow guys and gals in uniform. So it's a great video. When now you do that, and now you go on to your other songs that you write. Are you still opening karaoke bars in LA?
I'm trying not to. No, I'm trying to go to the next level.
Okay.
But I mean, hey, if they want to take me, I'm still there. So, yeah, exactly.
Okay, so let's go. I had to get myself in a different place. Anyway, let's go to Kryptonite and to Fight Back. Let's share that with us a little bit.
So after Gunshots came out, the music video got a lot of positive feedback, and I noticed that it was more about my fans at that point and the followers, because I was getting so much positive feedback about how watching the video and hearing that song changed people's lives and helped a lot of veterans and civilians out. And so what I started to notice was that it was targeting specifically the veteran areas. And I wanted to do a song that would not only target veterans, but also civilians alike, so that everybody across the globe could benefit from a song that I put out. So that's how Fight Back was born. So Fight Back is a song that is meant to motivate people to fight back against their mental illness or whatever it is that they wake up every single day fighting, whether it's mental illness, a physical disability, anything that they have. So that's what Fight Back is.
Right, and then Kryptonite?
So Kryptonite is basically a song that talks about something that I'm personally aware of, and that I know a lot of men are personally aware of. My roots are in R&B, so I am an R&B artist, and so I wanted to start releasing just R&B music, and that's what Kryptonite is. So Kryptonite is a song that talks about how every person has that one physical type that they look at and they're just like, oh my God, that person is so attractive, and they just shut down. Like the most confident guy can just become silent. The most confident woman can end up not saying anything. And that's what your kryptonite is when it comes to somebody that you're attracted to. And so that's what kryptonite is. It's a man describing his kryptonite to a woman saying, you are my kryptonite.
Right, and what does he do after that?
He tries to talk to her, but because she's his kryptonite, it becomes extremely difficult.
Okay, so you present this situation. I know my kryptonite. You know yours. Right? Okay.
Yeah.
So what do we do? Just avoid it?
You have to find a way to overcome it. You have to find a way to break through that barrier and make it happen.
When are you going to write that song?
That's coming up next. That's on the album.
Great. The album is aptly titled Therapy Session.
Yeah.
And that's taken those three songs, which are like semi kind of soft rap to me. And so are you going to incorporate, have you found that way, that mechanism to switch to R&B, rhythm and blues, and make that also therapeutic for you?
Yeah, so doing R&B has been therapeutic for me because it's a passionate genre. I've been a singer since I was a kid. And so I chose to do R&B because it's what I grew up on. I grew up listening to artists like Boyz II Men and things like that. And so R&B has been my identity musically since I was a child. And because of the fact that it's a very passionate genre, it helps me express myself and it helps me with the anxiety because you have to put so much passion into the music that you do when you sing R&B that it forces you to get it out of you.
Right. Well, I just had it. You just reminded me that your R&B is different from my R&B.
Oh, yeah.
I'm thinking about the Four Tops, the Temptations, Marvin Gaye. Back into Jackie, into Jackie, into all these other. I'm going, oh my gosh, yeah, okay. So, but that is your rhythm and blues. Do you draw anything from the Motown sounds?
I do.
Jackie Wilson, from any of those guys like that?
Not that era. When I started listening to music, it was more of like the 90s and the early 2000s, like the Boyz II Men, the As Yet, things like that, Usher. And so I draw a lot.
Give me a song that you can, if I can, I'm putting you on the spot. Give me a song that like you went, wow, that's what I want to do.
I'm trying to think. Oh, so one of the songs that I actually perform is Usher Bedtime. And Bedtime is a song that he did about how when he's with the woman that he's dating, it makes him so relaxed that it makes him want to fall asleep, like it's bedtime. And so that was the song that really triggered it for me. Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, Elliott, I want to thank you for coming on the show, and thank you for your service to country, for me and my family putting our head on the pillow at night and 99.9% guaranteed to wake up safe. It's because men like yourself and women that stand on the wall keeping this country safe and protected. So anytime when your album comes out, we want you back.
Oh, definitely.
All right, pal? So keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing the things that's the therapy for you, but is also serving your brothers and sisters, and also for guys like me and for the American people that are out there to get a better understanding of what you experienced.
Of course.
So thank you for being on the show, pal. Anytime, come back. Thank you.
Of course.
The show has been presented by the Merengoff Family Foundation. You've been watching Proud to Serve. As always, God, family, country. Godspeed you all.